Hello, and welcome to English in Fluency. My name is Alex, and I'm so incredibly glad you've chosen to spend your time with me today. In this episode, we are going to embark on a rather unusual journey. A journey back in time to uncover some of the most profound and lasting lessons about success, shared by thinkers who walked the earth thousands of years ago. The ancient philosophers. Now, I can already hear what some of you might be thinking. Why on earth should we listen to ideas from a world so different from our own? A world without smartphones, without the internet, without the constant rush of modern life? It's a fair question. But the truth is, the deep, fundamental challenges we face as human beings, that feeling of being stuck, of not knowing which path to take, the sting of failure, and the fear of the unknown. These are not new problems. They are the very same questions that people have been wrestling with for centuries. Great minds like Socrates, Aristotle, Confucius, and Marcus Aurelius didn't just ponder these things in quiet rooms, they lived them, and they sought answers to the most timeless of all questions. How can we live a good life? How do we find a success that feels true and brings us genuine happiness? Their wisdom offers us a kind of map, a way to navigate our own inner worlds and find the strength and motivation to grow, especially when life feels difficult or confusing. So, today, I want to invite you on this journey with me. This isn't just a history lesson, it's an exploration of your own mind, your own heart, and your own potential. Let's begin this exploration with a question that is both simple and incredibly deep. What does success truly mean to you? For a moment, forget what you've seen in movies, what you've read in magazines, or what others might have told you. Just think for yourself. Is success the number in your bank account? Is it the title on your business card? Or is it something less tangible? Perhaps the feeling of peace you have at the end of the day. Maybe success for you is about having deep, loving relationships, or the wisdom to handle life's storms with grace. There is no single correct answer, and that is precisely the point. Success is deeply personal. It's a definition that you, and only you, have the power to write for yourself. This can feel like a heavy responsibility, but it's also wonderfully liberating. It means you are the architect of your own life's meaning. Have you ever paused in the middle of a busy day and wondered what truly drives you? What is the fuel that keeps your engine running when you feel exhausted or discouraged? Or maybe you've felt that heavy feeling of being stuck, paralyzed by the fear of making a mistake, unsure of even the first step to take. If any of this sounds familiar, please know that you are not alone. These feelings are woven into the very fabric of the human experience. Ancient philosophers understood this. They didn't offer simple, quick fixes. Instead, they provided us with powerful tools to reshape the way we think, to change our perspective on ourselves and the challenges we face. Throughout our time together today, I will share with you some of the most valuable and practical ideas from these incredible thinkers. We will explore the immense power of your mindset and how it shapes your reality. We'll discover why small, consistent actions are far more powerful than the impossible quest for perfection. We will learn that knowing yourself is not a selfish act, but your greatest source of strength. We'll see how community and connection are not just nice to have, but essential for true success. And finally, we'll learn how to face the inevitability of change, not with fear, but with acceptance and even curiosity. These are not just abstract theories. They are lessons to be lived. They are invitations to reflect, to experiment, and to grow into the person you hope to become. My sincere hope is that by the end of this episode, you will feel inspired and equipped to begin crafting your own unique philosophy of success, one that aligns perfectly with who you are and what you truly want from this life. So, please, get comfortable, take a slow, deep breath, and let's begin this journey together. What is the one thing that stops you from starting? And what is one tiny, manageable step you could take today toward a better mindset and a more fulfilling life? Hold that thought as we move forward. Thank you for being here. Let's dive in. So, we've posed the big question. What does success really mean? Now, it's time to peel back the layers and explore this a little more deeply. It might sound like a simple question on the surface, but it is genuinely one of the most complex and important questions any of us can ever ask ourselves. For so many people in the modern world, the idea of success is immediately and almost automatically linked with wealth, with the accumulation of money and material possessions. When you scroll through social media or watch a blockbuster movie, the image of success is often a person in a luxurious house, driving a high-end car, or wearing designer clothes. It's an easy narrative to believe. That money is the ultimate key to a successful life. And of course, money is important. It provides comfort, security, and the freedom to pursue our interests and care for our loved ones. But let's be honest with ourselves. Is having money, even a lot of it, enough to feel truly successful deep down in your soul? I think many of us know stories, or have even seen examples, of people who have achieved incredible financial wealth, but still feel a profound sense of unhappiness, loneliness, or emptiness inside. This tells us a very important truth. Success must be about more than just money. This leads us to another very common definition of success: happiness. Many would argue that being happy is the ultimate goal, the true north of a successful life. This version of success isn't about what you own, but about how you feel. It could be found in the simple joy of your daily routines, the laughter you share with loved ones, or the sense of inner peace you cultivate. Happiness can be found in the quiet moments, spending a lazy afternoon with your family, getting lost in a creative project you love, or just taking a peaceful walk in nature. But happiness, as a measure of success, is also more than just feeling good all the time. Life is full of ups and downs, and no one feels joyful every single moment. A deeper kind of happiness comes from a sense of satisfaction and pride in who you are, especially when you navigate difficult times. Have you ever felt that incredible surge of happiness after completing a really challenging task at work, or after helping a friend through a tough time? Those moments are a different kind of success. A success defined by your character, your resilience, and your contribution to the world. It's a feeling, not just a destination. Then there is a third, more ancient perspective on success: the pursuit of wisdom. This idea comes directly from the philosophers we're discussing today. They believed that the greatest success was not about what you had, but about who you were. To them, success was about knowing how to live well. Wisdom is that incredible ability to understand life's complexities, to make thoughtful choices, and most importantly, to learn from your mistakes. When you are wise, You don't just blindly follow the crowd or chase the latest trends. You think for yourself. You listen to your inner voice and carve out your own path. Wisdom is what gives you the strength to remain calm during a crisis, and the clarity to keep moving forward when you feel lost. From this perspective, success isn't measured by your possessions, but by your personal growth, by how much you have learned, and how you have evolved as a human being. These three different lenses for viewing success, wealth, happiness, and wisdom, are all valid and important. But here is the most crucial part of this entire discussion. Success means different things to different people, and that is perfectly okay. What one person views as the pinnacle of success might feel completely meaningless to someone else. For instance, in some cultures, the definition of success is deeply rooted in community and family. Success might mean being able to support your parents, being a respected member of your community, and putting the needs of the group before your own. In other cultures, success might be more focused on individual achievement, on standing out, and on pursuing personal dreams and ambitions. This is why it is so vitally important to approach this question personally. To quiet the noise of the outside world and ask yourself, what does success truly mean for me? For my life? When you begin to see success as a personal and multifaceted concept, something magical happens. It frees you from the immense pressure to live up to someone else's definition. You no longer feel compelled to chase a certain type of job, buy an expensive item, or live a certain lifestyle just because you think you're supposed to. Instead, you can begin to focus your energy on what genuinely makes you feel proud, joyful, and strong. Success can be found in the small things just as much as the big ones. It could be the success of finally finishing a book you've been meaning to read for months. It could be the success of having a conversation in English, even if it wasn't perfect. It could be the success of making a new friend or repairing a strained relationship. These might seem like small steps on a long journey, but each and every one of them is a success in its own right, a victory worth celebrating. It's also incredibly helpful to remember that the path to success is never a straight line. It's full of twists, turns, and unexpected detours. There will be times when you feel like you have failed. But the ancient philosophers taught us that setbacks and mistakes are not the opposite of success. They are an essential part of it. They are precious opportunities to understand yourself more deeply, to learn a valuable lesson, and to build a stronger, more resilient mindset. So, the next time you feel discouraged by a perceived failure, I invite you to gently ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How can this challenge actually help me move forward? Now, I want you to take just a moment, right here, right now, to reflect on your own idea of success. What is it that you desire most in your life? Is it a sense of inner peace? Is it deep and meaningful relationships? Is it knowledge and personal growth? Or is it something else entirely? Please remember, there is no right or wrong answer. Your definition of success is your own personal compass. And by understanding what it is, you can start making choices that are aligned with who you truly are, not just with what the world expects of you. In the rest of our journey today, we will delve into powerful lessons from the ancient world that can help you build and live by this personal idea of success. These lessons will show you how to transform your mindset, cultivate consistency, understand yourself better, and embrace the flow of life. But for now, just hold this idea of success as something rich, personal, and multifaceted. Before we continue, ask yourself this: when was a time in your life, even a small one, that you felt truly successful? How did that feel in your body? What was it that made that moment so special for you? Thinking about this can help you connect more deeply with the ideas we're about to discuss. Success is not just about the grand achievements. It's about finding meaning in the journey itself, in every single step you take. Thank you for listening so carefully. Let's continue this journey together. Now that we've begun to shape our personal understanding of success, let's explore one of the most transformative lessons from the ancient world: the incredible power of your mindset. This lesson comes to us from a school of thought known as Stoicism, and from a group of profound thinkers called the Stoics. Perhaps you've heard of Stoicism before. It's a philosophy for living that emerged in ancient Greece more than 2,000 years ago, and its teachings are remarkably relevant and helpful for us today. Some of the most famous Stoic philosophers were men from vastly different walks of life. There was Marcus Aurelius, who was not only a philosopher but also the most powerful man in the world at the time, a Roman emperor. And then there was Epictetus, who began his life as a slave and later became a respected teacher. Despite their different circumstances, they both taught a similar core idea about how to live a good life, especially when things are difficult. One of the central tenets of Stoicism is the understanding that we cannot control everything that happens around us. This is a simple truth, but a difficult one to accept. In our lives, things will happen that we do not want or expect. We might lose a job we love, have a serious disagreement with a close friend, face a health challenge, or simply have a day where everything seems to go wrong. According to the Stoics, what causes our unhappiness and suffering is not the event itself, but our judgment and reaction to it. They taught that we must learn to differentiate between what is within our control and what is not. We should focus all of our energy on the things we can control: our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions, our character, and learn to accept with grace and calm the things we cannot control. This isn't an easy practice, but it is a profoundly powerful one. Let's pause and think about this for a moment. Imagine you've spent weeks preparing for a very important presentation at work. You know your material inside and out, but on the day of the presentation, the projector malfunctions or a key person is unexpectedly absent. You cannot change what has already happened. That is outside of your control, but you have complete control over how you respond. You could become flustered, angry, and let the setback derail your entire presentation. Or you could take a deep breath, adapt to the situation, and proceed with confidence and calm. Stoicism empowers us to choose that second option. It teaches us to build what modern psychology calls resilience, that incredible ability to bounce back from adversity, to learn from setbacks, and to keep moving forward with strength. Let me share a story about a young woman named Maria. Maria was a passionate painter. She poured her heart and soul onto her canvases, and her dream was to have her work displayed in a gallery. She sent her portfolio to dozens of galleries, and one by one the rejection letters came back. With each rejection, she felt a piece of her spirit crumble. She started to think, maybe I'm just not talented enough. Maybe I should just give up. She was focusing on something she couldn't control, whether the gallery owners liked her art. But then, she came across the idea of Stoicism. It shifted her perspective entirely. She realized she couldn't control the opinions of the critics, but she could control her own dedication to her craft. She could control how much she practiced, how much she learned, and the love she put into her work. So, instead of being crushed by rejection, she focused on becoming a better painter every single day. Her mindset changed from one of desperation to one of purpose. She continued to paint, not for the galleries, but for herself. Eventually, her work improved so much that a small gallery owner noticed her, and she got her first show. Her success came not from changing the world's opinion, but from changing her own mind. The Stoics also offer a practical way to deal with worry. They remind us that challenges will always arise, and it's perfectly normal to feel upset or anxious. But they ask us to step back and question our initial reaction. Is this situation truly as catastrophic as my mind is making it out to be? So often, our fears and anxieties are magnified in our imagination. By learning to accept that some things are simply beyond our control, we can dramatically reduce our stress and find a greater sense of inner peace. So here is a question for you to reflect on. How do you typically react when life doesn't go according to your plan? Do you tend to become angry, worried, or sad? Or do you try to find a calm and constructive way forward? There is no judgment here. It is not easy to always have the right reaction. But simply becoming aware of your habitual response is the crucial first step. A powerful exercise from Stoicism is called negative visualization. This doesn't mean being pessimistic. It means thoughtfully considering what might go wrong in a future situation, not to become fearful, but to prepare yourself emotionally. For example, before an important English speaking exam, you might imagine that your mind goes blank on a question. You then prepare a strategy. If that happens, I will take a deep breath, ask for the question to be repeated, and give myself a moment to think. This practice makes you mentally stronger and less likely to be thrown off balance by unexpected difficulties. Remember, the power of your mindset is like a muscle. The more you consciously practice focusing on your thoughts and accepting what you cannot change, the stronger your resilience will become. This doesn't mean you should ignore your problems or suppress your feelings. It means learning to face them with courage, clarity, and calm. In the next parts of our discussion, we will explore other vital lessons that connect beautifully with this idea of mindset, like the importance of consistency and the power of self-knowledge. But for now, hold this powerful thought in your mind. Success is not determined by what happens to us, but by how we choose to respond. The Stoics teach us that our greatest strength is not found in the world outside, but deep within our own mind. Thank you for listening. This week, try to observe your own reactions. When a challenge arises, big or small, try to remember the Stoic wisdom. Focus on what you can control and practice accepting the rest. It could be the key to feeling less stressed and more empowered to move forward. In our last lesson, we delved into the profound wisdom of the Stoics, learning about the power of our mindset and how focusing on what we can control can build incredible resilience. Now, let's journey forward to another crucial idea, this time from a different giant of ancient philosophy, Aristotle. Aristotle lived over 2,000 years ago in ancient Greece, and his insights into balance, moderation, and character are still incredibly valuable for us today. One of Aristotle's most famous concepts is something he called the golden mean. This is the idea that the best way to live, the path to excellence, lies in finding a middle ground between two extremes. Imagine a perfectly balanced scale. On one side, you have too much of something, which is an excess. On the other side, you have too little, which is a deficiency. For Aristotle, virtue and success are found by avoiding both extremes and staying in that balanced center, the mean. Let's take a quality like courage, for example. Courage is undoubtedly a virtue, but according to Aristotle, too much courage, without any thought for danger, becomes recklessness, and too little courage becomes cowardice. The golden mean is finding that sweet spot of true courage, acting bravely, but also wisely. This powerful idea of balance is extremely helpful when we think about our own journey of learning, growth, and the pursuit of success. So many of us get trapped by one of the most common obstacles to progress: the desire for perfection. This is called perfectionism, and while it might sound like a positive trait, it can actually be one of the biggest barriers that stops us from moving forward. We tell ourselves, "I need to have a perfect plan before I start," or, "If I make a mistake, it means I've failed." But perfectionism is a trap. It can create so much fear and pressure that we become paralyzed, afraid to even begin, or we give up at the first sign of imperfection. Instead of this impossible quest for perfection, Aristotle's lesson encourages us to embrace a different approach: a focus on steady, consistent effort. It is the small, regular actions, repeated over time, that create real, lasting progress. Think about the process of learning to cook a new dish. The first time you try, you might burn the onions or add too much salt. It won't be perfect. But if you keep practicing, trying the recipe again and again, you learn from your mistakes. You adjust the temperature, you taste as you go. You don't wait until you are a perfect chef before you start cooking. You become a better cook through consistent practice and patience. Let me tell you about a young man named David. David wanted to get in shape. He was inspired by fitness influencers on social media who had perfect physiques and followed incredibly intense workout routines. So, David decided he would go to the gym for 2 hours every single day and follow a super strict diet. This is the extreme of too much. For the first few days, he was motivated. But soon, his body was sore. He was exhausted, and he felt miserable because he couldn't eat any of the foods he enjoyed. After just 1 week, he quit completely. He had burned out. A few months later, a friend suggested he try a different approach, one based on the golden mean. Instead of an extreme workout, David committed to a 20-minute walk every day. And instead of a strict diet, he decided to add one healthy vegetable to his dinner each night. These were small, consistent actions. It was the extreme of just the right amount. At first, the progress seemed slow, but he stuck with it. The 20-minute walks became 30-minute jogs. One healthy vegetable became 2. A year later, David was healthier and happier than ever before. He didn't achieve his goal through a burst of perfect, intense effort. He achieved it through balanced, steady consistency. This story perfectly illustrates how consistent effort wins over the desire for perfection every time. It's so easy to forget this when we look at successful people and only see their final result. But almost every story of success is built on a foundation of thousands of small, unglamorous, regular actions. The golden mean helps us find that balance in our own efforts. Pushing yourself too hard leads to burnout and quitting. But putting in too little effort leads to no progress. The secret lies in that sustainable, balanced, steady approach. So, here is a very important question for you to consider. Is there something in your life that you are waiting to be perfect before you start? Are you holding yourself back from a goal because you are afraid of making mistakes or not being good enough right away? If your answer is yes, I gently invite you to remember Aristotle's lesson. It is far better to begin imperfectly than to wait for a perfection that will never arrive. The journey to success is not about avoiding failure. It is about learning from our mistakes and maintaining a steady, consistent pace. Another helpful way to apply this is to shift your focus from perfection to progress. Every small step forward is a victory. For example, if your goal is to improve your English listening skills, don't feel like you have to understand 100% of a movie the first time. The success is in the act of listening consistently. Maybe today you understood 5% more than you did last week. That is progress. That is success. Just like David learning to get fit, don't let the fear of imperfection stop you from practicing every day. Balance is also about being kind and compassionate with yourself. Sometimes we are our own harshest critics. We push ourselves relentlessly, trying to do everything all at once, which only leads to stress and exhaustion. Aristotle's golden mean is a beautiful reminder to take care of ourselves on our journey. Rest, relaxation, and fun are not distractions from success. They are essential components of a balanced and sustainable path toward it. In this lesson, we have seen that true, lasting success is about finding that delicate balance between effort and patience, between striving for improvement and accepting our imperfections. This balanced approach will help you stay motivated, avoid the paralyzing trap of perfectionism, and actually enjoy the process of growth. So, as you go through your week, I encourage you to think about this. What is one small, imperfect step you can take today toward your goal? Remember, progress is a journey made of countless small, consistent steps, and taking those steps is, in itself, a great success. Thank you for listening so closely. In our next lesson, we will explore another incredibly valuable idea: the importance of self-knowledge, inspired by the great philosopher Socrates. But for now, hold Aristotle's golden mean in your mind, and try to find that beautiful balance in your own efforts. So far on our journey, we have talked about the power of our mindset and the importance of finding balance and consistency in our efforts. Now, let's turn our attention inward and explore a very famous piece of advice from one of the earliest and most influential philosophers of all time, Socrates. You have almost certainly heard his famous teaching, "Know thyself." This simple two-word phrase has echoed through the centuries, and its meaning is as profound today as it was in ancient Athens. But what does it really mean to know thyself? On the surface, it might seem quite straightforward. Of course, we know who we are. We live with ourselves every single day. But Socrates believed that truly understanding ourselves on a deep, honest level is one of the most challenging and most important undertakings of a lifetime. Knowing yourself means having the courage to be completely honest about your strengths, and just as importantly, your weaknesses. It's about clearly identifying your core values, the principles that you hold most dear. It's about uncovering your true desires, not the desires that society, your family, or your friends might have for you. It's a process of peeling back the layers of external expectations to discover the authentic person who lies beneath. This deep self-knowledge is so crucial because it is the foundation upon which you build a meaningful life. When you truly know what matters to you, it becomes infinitely easier to set goals that excite your spirit and feel genuinely worthwhile. Without this inner clarity, you risk drifting through life, following a path simply because it seems popular, or because it promises financial security, or because it's what others expect of you. This can lead to a deep sense of frustration, confusion, or the feeling of being utterly lost. Socrates famously said that the unexamined life is not worth living. He saw a life without self-reflection as being like a ship sailing the vast ocean without a map or a compass. You might be in motion, but you have no idea where you are going or why. Let me tell you a story about a young woman named Chloe. Chloe was a bright university student, but she was deeply unhappy. She was studying to become a lawyer because her parents, who were both successful lawyers, had always dreamed of her following in their footsteps. She got good grades, but she felt no passion for her studies. She often felt a sense of dread when she thought about her future. She was living with a great deal of self-doubt, constantly wondering, "Is this really what I want for my life?" The problem was, she had never given herself permission to ask that question honestly. She was so focused on meeting others' expectations that she had lost touch with her own inner voice. Then, inspired by a philosophy class, she decided to try the Socratic method on herself. She started journaling, asking herself deep questions. What subjects make me feel curious and excited? When do I feel most alive? What kind of problems in the world do I want to help solve? What are my deepest values? Slowly, through this process of self-examination, she discovered that she had a deep love for environmental science and a passion for conservation. Making the decision to change her major was terrifying. It meant disappointing her parents and stepping onto a less certain path. But it was a choice that came from a place of authenticity, from knowing herself. For the first time, she felt like she was the captain of her own ship. Many of us experience self-doubt, just like Chloe did. It is a completely natural part of being human to question ourselves, especially when we are facing major life decisions. But persistent self-doubt can hold you back like an anchor, preventing you from trying new things or believing in your own potential. The advice from Socrates encourages us to become curious investigators of our own lives, to explore our feelings and thoughts with honesty and without judgment. This process isn't always comfortable. Sometimes we discover things about ourselves we don't like. But it is the essential first step toward living authentically, being true to the person you really are. Authenticity is a powerful force. It means living your life in a way that is aligned with your inner values and goals. It means you stop pretending to be someone you're not, just to fit in or to please other people. When you live authentically, you build a deep and unshakable sense of self-confidence. It also has a strange way of attracting the right people and the right opportunities into your life. When you know yourself, you gain the clarity to say no to the things that don't serve you, and a confident yes to the things that truly light you up. Here is a question I invite you to reflect on deeply. What do you truly want, and why? This might sound like a simple question, but it's one that deserves your quiet, focused attention. We often get so caught up in the busyness of our daily lives, so worried about the opinions of others, that we forget to check in with ourselves. So take a moment now, or later today, and just imagine your ideal life. Not the life that would look good on social media, but the one that would feel good to you, deep in your soul. What kind of work would energize you? How would you spend your free time? Who are the people you would surround yourself with? The answers to these questions are your personal compass, guiding you toward your own unique definition of success. This idea of self-knowledge is a universal theme, though it may be expressed differently across various cultures. For example, in many Eastern cultures, there is a strong emphasis on harmony and one's role within the family and community. But even within that context, there is a deep tradition of seeking to understand one's true nature and purpose. In many Western cultures, the focus is often more on individualism and self-expression. But regardless of the cultural lens, the fundamental journey to know yourself is what allows you to live a fuller, more purpose-driven life. Socrates reminds us that the path to success is not just about achieving things on the outside. It is about cultivating clarity on the inside. When you understand yourself, you can make choices with confidence, face challenges with courage, and build a life with fewer regrets. Self-knowledge is the solid ground upon which you can build everything else. Thank you for listening so closely to this important lesson. I want to encourage you to carve out a little bit of quiet time for yourself this week. Ask yourself those big questions. Who am I? What do I truly want? These questions may not have easy or immediate answers, but the very act of asking them is the beginning of a powerful and life-changing journey. Remember, success is not just about what you accomplish externally, but about knowing, accepting, and being yourself internally. In the next episode, we will explore how our relationships and our sense of community play a crucial role in success, inspired by the teachings of Confucius. But for now, hold on to this profound idea from Socrates. The most important journey you will ever take is the journey within. So far in our exploration, we have journeyed inward, discussing the power of mindset, the wisdom of balance, and the essential task of knowing ourselves. Now, it's time to turn our focus outward and look at another crucial element of a successful life: the importance of our connections with others, our community. This powerful lesson comes to us from one of the most influential thinkers in East Asian history, Confucius. His teachings, which have shaped cultures for over 2 millennia, are centered on the ideas of harmony in our relationships and our responsibility to one another. Confucius had a deep belief that human beings are fundamentally social creatures. He taught that true success and happiness do not arise from isolated individual effort, but are cultivated through our relationships with others, our family, our friends, our teachers, and our broader society. For Confucius, the way we treat other people and the effort we put into building strong, respectful, and compassionate relationships are the very cornerstones of a good and meaningful life. This may sound like a simple idea, but its implications are profound. We are not islands, complete unto ourselves. We need each other to learn, to grow, and to thrive. One of the central concepts in Confucianism is harmony. Harmony, in this sense, doesn't mean that everyone must be the same or agree on everything. Instead, it means living in a state of balance and mutual respect with those around you, managing disagreements with grace, and offering support to one another. It's about fostering an environment of kindness and understanding, even when people have different perspectives. This kind of social harmony creates a space where people feel safe, where they can collaborate effectively, and where they can learn from each other's unique strengths. Think about your own life and your experiences with teamwork, whether in school, at work, or even in a sports team. Have you ever been part of a group where everyone genuinely supported each other, where individual egos were set aside for the good of the team? Or perhaps you've had a mentor in your life, someone with more experience who offered you guidance, advice, and encouragement when you needed it most. These relationships make an enormous difference. They provide us with motivation when we feel like giving up. They teach us things we couldn't learn on our own, and they help us overcome challenges that would seem insurmountable if we were facing them alone. Confucius teaches us that success is not just a personal trophy to be won, but a shared journey we take with the people who walk beside us. Let me share a quick story about an entrepreneur named Kenji. Kenji had a brilliant idea for a new mobile application. He was a talented programmer, and he worked tirelessly, day and night, completely on his own. He believed that to be successful, he had to do everything himself. He was isolated, fueled only by coffee and his ambition. But after months of work, he hit a wall. He had a technical problem he couldn't solve, and he was feeling completely burned out and discouraged. He felt like a failure. A friend, seeing how much he was struggling, encouraged him to join a local group for tech startups. Kenji was hesitant, but he went. At his first meeting, he shared the problem he was facing. To his surprise, another member of the group had faced the exact same issue and offered a simple solution. But more than that, he found a community of people who understood his struggles, who celebrated his small wins, and who offered him encouragement. He started collaborating with others, and his project, which had stalled, began to flourish. Kenji learned a vital lesson. His success was not just dependent on his individual brilliance, but on the strength of his connections. Confucius also placed a great deal of importance on the concept of filial piety, which is the virtue of showing deep respect and care for one's parents and elders. In many cultures around the world, the family is our first and most important community. It's where we learn our earliest lessons about respect, responsibility, trust, and love. The unwavering support of our family can be an incredibly powerful foundation for success, providing us with the emotional strength and often the practical help we need to navigate the world. This brings us to a very important question for you to reflect on. Who are the people in your life who help you stay motivated and focused? Take a moment to think about your personal community. It could be family members, close friends, a supportive teacher, or encouraging colleagues. Who are the people who cheer you on when you're struggling? Who celebrates your victories, big and small, with genuine joy for you? These people are playing an invaluable role in your journey toward success. It's also crucial to remember that community is a two-way street. It's not just about what we receive, it's also about what we give. Confucius believed that by helping others, by being a supportive and responsible member of our community, we create a positive upward spiral of kindness, trust, and reciprocity. When you take the time to help a friend, listen to a family member, or mentor a colleague, you are not only making their life better, but you are also strengthening your own social bonds and deepening your own sense of purpose. In our modern, interconnected world, a community can take many forms. It might be your immediate family, your colleagues at work, members of a hobby club, or even an online group of people who share your interests. The key is to find and nurture those spaces where you feel seen, valued, and connected. These relationships are the emotional and psychological scaffolding that provides motivation and helps us face life's inevitable setbacks with greater confidence. So, as you continue to think about your own path to success, please remember that you do not have to walk it alone. In fact, building and nurturing your relationships may be one of the most powerful and strategic things you can do. Success is so often a team effort, even when it appears to be an individual achievement from the outside. To summarize this lesson, Confucius teaches us that harmony, respect, and responsibility within our relationships create a strong and resilient foundation for success. When we connect with others, share our struggles, celebrate our wins, and offer our support, we all become stronger and more capable. Success feels richer, deeper, and far more meaningful when it is shared with a supportive community. Thank you for joining me for this lesson. I encourage you to take a moment this week to think about your own community. Who are the people you can count on? And just as importantly, how can you be a source of support for them in return? These simple reflections can help you build stronger, more meaningful, and more supportive relationships on your journey. In our next lesson, we will explore the final powerful idea from the ancient world, the wisdom of accepting and embracing change, inspired by the teachings of Heraclitus. But for now, remember that success is not just about you. It's about the connections that lift you up, hold you steady, and help you keep moving forward. Throughout our journey so far, we have explored profound ideas from ancient philosophers about the power of our mindset, the wisdom of balance, the necessity of knowing ourselves, and the strength we draw from our community. Today, we arrive at our final lesson, one that deals with one of the most fundamental truths of life, the nature of change and uncertainty. This lesson comes to us from an ancient Greek philosopher named Heraclitus, who lived even before Socrates, over 2,500 years ago. Heraclitus is famous for a mysterious and beautiful saying, "You cannot step into the same river twice." What on earth did he mean by that? Imagine you are standing on the bank of a flowing river. You decide to step into the cool water. The water that touches your feet is flowing, moving, rushing past you on its journey downstream. Now, imagine you step out, and then step back in again. Is it the same river? The river is there, but the water that you touch this second time is completely new water. The old water is gone forever. Heraclitus used this powerful metaphor to explain his core belief about the universe, that everything is in a constant state of change. Nothing ever stays exactly the same. Everything is in perpetual motion, in a state of what he called flux. This idea can feel a bit unsettling at first. As human beings, we often crave stability, security, and predictability. We like to know what's coming next. We want things to be steady and safe. But Heraclitus teaches us a vital lesson. Change is not an interruption to life. Change is the very nature of life. Therefore, true success doesn't come from trying to stop the river from flowing or from clinging desperately to the riverbank. It comes from learning to flow with the current, from learning to adapt to the ever-changing nature of reality. Think about the changes you've experienced in your own life. Perhaps you've moved to a new city, started a new job, ended a relationship, or learned a new skill. These moments of transition can be filled with excitement and opportunity, but they can also be filled with fear and anxiety. Uncertainty can make us feel deeply worried because we simply don't know what the future holds. But the wisdom of Heraclitus reminds us that this flow of change is natural and inevitable. Resisting it, fighting against it, often only leads to more frustration and suffering. In fact, the world we live in today is defined by rapid and relentless change. We see it in new technologies that transform industries overnight, in shifting job markets that require us to constantly learn new skills, and in global events that can alter our lives in an instant. These modern challenges demand that we be flexible, resilient, and open-minded. The people who are able to accept and even embrace change are the ones who often discover new opportunities and grow stronger from their experiences, while those who rigidly resist it may find themselves left behind, feeling stuck and resentful. Let me share a story about a woman named Sarah. Sarah had worked as a librarian for over 30 years. She loved her job. She loved the smell of old books, the quiet atmosphere, and helping people find the information they needed. But her library, like many others, began to change. They introduced digital databases, e-books, and self-checkout machines. Sarah resisted these changes. She was uncomfortable with the new technology and longed for the way things used to be. She became increasingly unhappy at work. She was fighting against the flow of the river. One day, a younger colleague gently offered to show her how the new digital system worked, and how it could actually help her find rare information for patrons even more quickly. Hesitantly, Sarah agreed to learn. It was difficult at first, but she started to see the possibilities. She realized that by adapting, she could combine her traditional love of knowledge with these powerful new tools. She ended up creating a popular workshop for older patrons on how to use e-readers and access the library's digital resources. Sarah learned that while change was scary, it also opened the door to a new and fulfilling chapter in her career. Heraclitus encourages us to be like the water in the river, flexible, adaptable, and always moving. Instead of fighting against the current of change, we can learn to navigate it. This mindset is not just helpful, it is essential for thriving in today's fast-paced world. It helps us to face uncertainty without being paralyzed by fear, making us more resilient and resourceful. So here is a vital question for you to reflect upon. How comfortable are you with change? When something unexpected happens, is your first instinct to resist it, or do you try to find a way to embrace it? Simply becoming aware of your own feelings and reactions to change is a huge step. If you feel uncomfortable or anxious, that is completely normal. Most people do. The key is not to eliminate that feeling, but to practice taking small steps toward accepting change and viewing it as an opportunity for growth. Another powerful way to apply this lesson is to focus on what you can control during a period of change. You may not be able to control the change itself, a company restructuring, a shift in the economy, but you always have control over your attitude and your response. For example, if you are learning English and the method you were using is no longer effective, you can't control that fact. But you can control your willingness to explore new learning techniques, your effort in finding a new tutor, and your openness to trying a different approach. Embracing change also means making peace with the fact that uncertainty is a non-negotiable part of life. No one has a perfect, foolproof plan. No one knows exactly what the future holds. Instead of trying to control every outcome, which is an exhausting and impossible task, we can learn to cultivate patience and curiosity. Sometimes, the most unexpected changes lead us to the most wonderful lessons and exciting opportunities. Opportunities we never could have planned for or even imagined. So, as you think about your own journey and your definition of success, remember the wisdom of Heraclitus's river. Life is always flowing, always changing. True success is found when you learn to move with the current, not when you fight against it. Change is not your enemy. It is one of life's greatest teachers. Thank you for listening to this final, important lesson. This week, I invite you to simply notice the moments of change in your life, both big and small. Practice being open to them, even if they feel a bit uncomfortable. Instead of fighting it, ask yourself, how can I flow with this change? This simple shift in perspective can help you grow stronger, wiser, and more confident in your ability to navigate the beautiful, ever-changing river of life. Over our time together, we have journeyed through the ancient world, uncovering powerful and timeless lessons from some of history's greatest minds. Ideas that are profoundly useful for anyone striving to build a meaningful and successful life today. Now, as we approach the end of our exploration, it's time to bring all of these threads together. Let's think about how you can weave these lessons into the fabric of your own life to create your personal philosophy of success. First, let's briefly revisit the wisdom we have gathered. From the Stoics, we learned about the immense power of our mindset. We discovered the liberating idea that while we cannot control external events, we always have control over our response to them. Life will inevitably bring challenges and setbacks, but it is our resilience, our choice to respond with calm and reason, that truly defines our success and our peace of mind. Then we explored Aristotle's beautiful concept of the golden mean. This taught us about the profound value of balance and consistency over the paralyzing pursuit of perfection. So many of us get trapped by the idea that we must do everything perfectly or not at all. But in reality, real, lasting success is born from small, steady, regular efforts repeated over time. Whether you're learning a new language, building a business, or improving your health, the path to mastery is paved with patience and consistent practice, not impossible perfection. From there, we sat with Socrates and his famous life-altering advice, "Know thyself." This lesson reminded us that true success must begin with deep self-knowledge. It's about understanding your core values, your unique strengths, and your genuine desires. If you don't know what you truly want, how can you ever hope to achieve it? Taking the time for quiet self-reflection is not a luxury. It is an essential practice that allows you to make wiser decisions and live a more authentic life. We also absorbed the wisdom of Confucius, who illuminated the incredible power of our relationships and our community. He reminded us that success is rarely, if ever, a solo journey. We all need the support, encouragement, and wisdom of our family, friends, mentors, and colleagues. Strong, healthy relationships provide us with the emotional fuel to keep going, and in turn, our responsibility is to offer that same support to others. A thriving community makes every individual within it stronger. Finally, we contemplated the words of Heraclitus and his vision of life as an ever-flowing river. He taught us that change is the only constant. Our plans may change, opportunities will come and go, but if we learn to accept that change is a natural and unavoidable part of life, we can face the future's uncertainty with greater confidence and less fear. Being flexible, open-minded, and adaptable allows us to navigate the river of life with grace and skill. Now, we come to the most important question of all. What do you do with all of this ancient wisdom? How can you transform these powerful ideas from abstract concepts into a practical guide for your own life? My suggestion is to begin crafting your own personal success philosophy. This doesn't need to be a complicated formal document. It can be as simple as a few guiding sentences or a short list of principles that you want to live by. For instance, your personal philosophy might include statements like these: I will focus my energy on what I can control and let go of the rest. I will value progress over perfection and take small, consistent steps toward my goals. I will make decisions that are true to my authentic self and my core values. I will nurture my relationships and be a source of support for my community. I will embrace change as an opportunity for growth and learning. You can write these principles down in a journal, on a note card you keep on your desk, or even in a note on your phone. The important part is to make them visible. Read them to yourself when you feel lost, when you feel stuck, or when you are facing a difficult decision. This personal philosophy can act as your compass, reminding you of what truly matters and helping you make choices that are aligned with the person you want to become. Another powerful and practical step is to schedule a small amount of time each week for reflection. This doesn't have to be a major commitment. Even just 5 or 10 minutes of quiet time can be incredibly beneficial. During this time, you can ask yourself a few simple questions. What was a win for me this week, no matter how small? What was a challenge, and what did I learn from it? How did I respond to unexpected events? What is one thing I can do next week to live more in line with my personal philosophy? These small moments of self-reflection are like checking your compass on a long journey. They help you stay on course, notice when you've strayed, and build greater self-awareness over time. Please remember that creating your own success philosophy is not about achieving perfection. It's an ongoing process. It's about staying curious about yourself and the world, being honest about your struggles, and remaining open to learning and evolving. Life will continue to change, and so will you. Your definition of success might shift and deepen as you gain more life experience. That is not only normal, it is a sign of growth. Your journey is uniquely yours, and you have the power to shape it in a way that feels true and meaningful to you. Before we conclude, I would like to leave you with one final question to carry with you. It's a question that encompasses all of these lessons. What kind of person do you want to become? And what is one small, tangible step you can take today to move in that direction? It's not about transforming your entire life overnight. It's about the quiet power of starting with one step, one choice, one thought, and then having the courage to repeat it again tomorrow, with patience and with purpose. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into ancient wisdom and its connection to modern success. We've journeyed through some truly big ideas together, from resilience and balance to self-knowledge, connection, and embracing change. Now, as we draw this episode to a close, I want to offer a few final thoughts, and, I hope, a little extra encouragement for your path forward. First and foremost, please remember that you don't need to perfectly memorize every detail or flawlessly follow every lesson we've discussed. That is not the goal, because success is not about doing everything at once. It's about doing something, one small thing, with intention and with focus. Simply choosing one single idea from our conversation today that resonated with you and making a conscious effort to apply it this week can create a real and positive ripple effect in your life. So, take a moment right now and ask yourself, which of these ideas spoke to my heart the most? Was it the Stoic wisdom to focus only on what you can control? Was it Aristotle's gentle call for balanced, steady effort instead of stressful perfection? Perhaps it was Socrates' profound challenge to truly know yourself, or Confucius's reminder that success is a shared journey, not a solo race. Or maybe it was Heraclitus's image of the flowing river, teaching us that change is not the enemy, but a natural part of life. Whatever it was, hold on to that one lesson. Think about a real, practical way you can apply it in your everyday life. Maybe it's finally taking that one small step toward a goal you've been afraid to start. Maybe it's giving yourself permission to be imperfect and just showing up with your best effort for today. Or maybe it's reaching out to have a conversation with someone who supports you, or being that source of support for someone else. Remember, the most powerful lessons are not the ones we simply hear, but the ones we choose to live. Now, before we say goodbye, I want to leave you with one final question to ponder. It's a simple question, but it holds immense power. What kind of success feels right for you? And what kind of person do you want to become in the process of achieving it? This question doesn't have a single correct answer, and your answer will likely evolve and mature as you learn more, grow more, and live more. But asking it regularly is what keeps you anchored to your true self. It helps you to design a life filled with meaning, not just a life filled with motion. So please, take this moment right now to just pause, take a deep breath, and reflect. There is no need to rush. Just think. What is my next small step? Whatever it is, I want you to know that I believe in your ability to take it. Not because you need to be perfect, not because you have everything figured out, but simply because you are willing to try. And that willingness, that courage to take the next step, is truly the beginning of all success. Thank you so much for listening to English in Fluency. If this episode has helped you to think, to feel, or to reflect in any new way, I encourage you to subscribe so you don't miss our future conversations. And if you found value in our time together, please consider leaving a review or sharing this episode with a friend who is also on their own journey of learning and growth. Your support helps others find this community. I invite you to join the conversation in the comments below. Share the one philosophical idea that resonated with you the most, or perhaps one principle from your own emerging success philosophy. We are all here to learn from each other. Until next time, stay curious, be kind to yourself, and never stop learning. Not just English, but about yourself and the incredible world around you.